OMG with your boy Flobo Boyce. There's another edition of In the Booth where we're hanging with those people who are just in love with the game as much as I am, and hopefully you are as well. And people always tell me, Flobo, I love your show, but it's too many Mets people on it. And I say, too bad, because on this episode, we're chatting with the man who is an in-game host as well as a ring announcer for the mixed martial arts and boxing. Please welcome JM Talks, Justin T. Manning. How's it going, sir?
JTM is the name, you know the face, you know the game. It's so good to be here on behalf of Black Baseball Mixtape. So glad we can make this happen. Two Brooklyn boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thought, man.
That's what I'm telling you. Who would have thought that baseball would be the way that I would like unite us, man?
Yeah,
but,
right.
Huge.
Like hip-hop. You never thought it'd be this far.
By the way, I love the fact that you put the quotes in the Instagram post, man. I'm like, yeah, I know that line. I was sitting there trying to recite and stuff.
Watch it, research it. There we go.
I gotta do my job as a semi-quasi journalist. So let's get off the top rope here, because I came across your content because I've been living out here in LA for 15 years. But I came across your content when someone said, "Yo, do you know this guy, Lamorne Harris? He's in-game host for the New York Mets." I'm like, that's not Mr. Harris. Can you explain how'd you get involved with the New York Mets organization as an in-game host, and why are you Lamorne Harris?
I do want to thank the Academy for this recent Emmy that I won for Fargo. I worked so hard for the last 20 years to make this happen. So my daughter, I told you I'd do this. I'm still your leader.
Yeah, that's Winston right there.
Funny story is Lamorne and I actually tweeted each other last year. And my tweet was, I do not look like Lamorne. Lamorne tweets me back, yes, you do. And everybody was like, yo. So now Lamorne and I, we DM each other kind of rarely nowadays because he's out here winning awards. But everybody's like, yo, that is definitely your doppelganger. Maybe you should do some acting. And I'm like, nah, I'm trying to be a stunt double for him. This guy over here winning Emmys.
Can you be a stunt double looking just like him? Just hire you instead.
Yeah. even more, I'll tell you, during the pandemic, they somebody was holding auditions for New Girl, and what role do you think I auditioned for?
Coach. No, I'm just kidding. Winston,
naturally. They were like, yo, we wish we could meet you in person because you're more of a physical guy. I was like, yeah, you think? And that's what became of that. So you're dealing with someone like yourself that is a quasi actor, but definitely someone that is real versatile. I love what I do.
It's funny how we have so many odd connections, because I used to work on New Girl here in Los Angeles in season 3. That was the season where everyone thought it kind of jumped the shark. But we also have a mutual friend, well, more than one personal and private. But Brian H. Waters was actually on the show a couple months ago talking about his love for the Baltimore Orioles.
Shout out to Brian. His Orioles in my way though, but Brian, man, that's my brother.
Yeah, he's like the Charles Avant of baseball media. He knows everybody.
He's Black Godfather, man.
That's what I'm saying.
From pro wrestling to the ring and Spotify, he's out here. Shout out to Brian Waters. He was also someone that I met through Clubhouse too.
Okay, I respect. Are you a pro wrestling guy too?
Huge.
Oh wow! Oh, who's your guy?
Huge. I'll be going to the AEW show in 2 days. Grand Slam here at Arthur Ashe.
All right, yeah, I got to get tickets to go out there. I have not seen AEW on the East Coast. I saw them at the Forum, but that's not why we're here today.
That's not why we're here. We're here to talk baseball. But one thing that we have in common is those people that are good with the mic and definitely know baseball. Yeah. Brian is an Orioles guy. He makes terrible decisions in life. Great guy. True. As you and I are Mets fans, and nobody's really talking about those Orioles like that. As we're talking about Grimace or Seymour Wiener. Or I don't know, have put in purple seats in the stands.
Well, everyone always says, for historically, the reason why quote unquote people are Mets fans is that there's no aura, there's no culture. But I can argue it objectively. There's been more culture in the last year and a half on that team out of absolutely nowhere, and you're a part of that because you're a part of the day game in-game experience, man. Like, that must be kind of crazy seeing OMG up close or seeing Glizzy Iggy up close.
Facts. Definitely when it comes to the culture, for number one, what if I told you no other sport has had a shortstop perform a concert after beating the team, and then with the concert comes with a whole light show, fireworks. No, you can't do that at Madison Square Garden with the Knicks. You can't do that with, let's say, Red Bulls or anywhere else. Not that they can't, but he had the number 1 song on the Latin Billboard charts. Now, when it comes to culture, the Mets historically have had and embrace culture to the fullest. You're talking about, good Lord, you're talking about Mookie. You're talking about Darryl Strawberry. We retired his number this year. Mm-hmm. They've done a lot for in terms of hiring as well, and they've also done some real outreach. Shout out to my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, where we helped to lead our Kappa League Youth Auxiliary Group to a free game this past summer, where a lot of the young men not only saw the game with complimentary tickets, they also had an experience to see how an in-game operation works.
Yeah.
So you're talking about from the culture, it's not just a sport. It's actually a whole career that you're showing to a different group. Even the parents were like, "Oh, this is what it takes to put on a baseball game? Dang!" And then you enjoy the game. You're like, "Wow, we got to do this again." And the
Yeah.
Mets are happy to do that. So this
Yeah.
won't be the last time. So we're talking about culture here. We definitely have culture. We definitely have excitement, and we are about it like Master P.
No, I respect that for sure. Like, why I became a Mets fan when I was a kid is that look, we had two options. My dad is from the West Indies, he's from Barbados, and he put on baseball in the house, both teams, because he just wanted to learn American cricket, right? As he said. But what attracted me to New York was that there was more people that looked like me that played. You're talking about Butch Husky, Bernard Gilkey. We're talking
There you
about Vaughn, even Benny Agbayani, who's Asian, but he was a thick boy like myself. That was the reason why I gravitated towards that team. But you look at the crowd now too, and I know people talk about the numbers of the people who go through the turnstiles, but the crowd is very diverse. And so I ask you,
Highly.
as a host, how do you make sure everyone's invited to this particular cookout? If you know what I mean.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Now this is Black Baseball Mixtape, so let's not get in trouble. Not everybody's invited to the cookout, but everybody's invited to Citi Field.
True.
Now, when you come to Citi Field, you're gonna have an experience like no other. And when I go on top of that dugout and I lead your New York Mets, I could turn around and I could point out not just the young men and women that look like you and I, but you're also looking at folks that are from different ethnic groups. We're in Queens, the most diverse borough in the world. There's an opportunity for you to introduce not just a sport, not just yourself, but you're representing what the New York Mets have done over the years. Now, I'm just Justin T. Manning. You know the face, you know the game on Black Baseball Mixtape. Boom, use the soundbite. But at the same time I'm doing this, I'm introducing a very diverse team. Francisco Lindor, Iglesias from Cuba, Starling Marte from DR. You're going to be able to see yourself on the field, and then you see the staff, our security guards, our guests. Providing the Mets experience is not just the standard, it's the expectation.
Yeah.
So when I look out to the field, whether it's even the visiting team, like let's say the LA Dodgers, you know who's coming out to see Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
Everybody and their mama. When Bryce Harper was with us yesterday and I'm leaving the field, you can very much see how diverse things are at Queens, New York.
Yeah.
Even after the game, man, the way we celebrated our final regular season home game outside, we're out there just moshing basically to an Evanescence song. The people that are there matching out to Evanescence. Some people weren't even old enough to remember when they came out, and they were matching out with everybody out there right outside of the 7. That's insane, and that can only happen in New York, baby. Citi Field.
All right, so I was going to ask you a stock question, but I'm going to get into nitty gritty about being an in-game host because for context, I'm also a benefit auctioneer. I'm a master of ceremonies, wrestling commentator. Kind of like what you do, but you have a larger stage. There are some days that, for whatever reason, it could be early, it could be late, it could be cold. The Mets could be 11 games under 500. You may not be particular feeling being the vibe, but you're also the party starter. So how do you get yourself in a position, mind right, to make sure other people have a good time if the internal forces or external forces aren't there?
I love that question because, like you said, it could be really cold in Citi Field, it could be extremely hot. Bring a jacket either way. It all starts mentally and internally. What's the quote? Because both our mamas are from Barbados, right?
Okay.
You don't want to just be you don't want to get ready. You want to be ready for the event, especially for something that you expect for an entire season. Now, in the Mets, they gave me my contract. It was a certain amount of dates, and I worked more than that. But that's because I knew what to expect going in, and I have a history of doing this in front of large as well as intimate crowds. So when I came in, they were like, yo, you're dealing with 40,000 people. I got that. That's easy. The challenge for me was, how do you go through the range of motions when your team is not necessarily winning before the game? because the record states for itself. The Mets started 0-5, and it was like, yo, I'm trying to bring the energy right now. This could be a challenge the rest of the season. Thank goodness for Iglesias, JD Martinez, right? Just getting us hot.
And by the way, so jump in there. Shout out to the Queens crew. People didn't like them, but I love them.
No, I don't know who didn't like the Queens crew.
Haters.
Yeah, they definitely some haters. I would say this. You continue to be consistent until folks realize, yo, there's two different ways to this. Either we can be really excited, or we can go and actually get to know who this guy is. And when people actually get to know you, they start opening up and be like, oh, snap, there's a side of him that I do like. Just like when you meet with the Queens crew. And the Queens crew have consistently not only beat out 500 people who auditioned for the spot, but they have consistently delivered night in, night out, every single game. And they deserve just as much recognition, and I expect them to be part of this. Maybe they're the reason why we're doing better than last year. Don't know. It's a superstitious sport. But they definitely been in that culture. DJ Razor, he's been DJing in City Field for 2009. Definitely part of the culture there. Shout out to him. Even your camera operators, very diverse crew, and they can work other sports and stadiums as well. So there's an opportunity for us to be seen, but also an opportunity to keep your level of enthusiasm day in, night out. Another example of that is last night's Sunday game is usually at 1. The league told us, nah, y'all gonna be there at 7 o'clock. So my wife and I are like, all right, who gonna watch the kid? Daddy not gonna be home tonight, So mentally I had to prepare for that by doing something that I practiced to do all season long, and it was very easy to do. And now we are winning, and we are number 2 in the wild card.
Yeah, and that is just great to hear. So let's talk about your experience with baseball. Before we went live, I said I started as a kid. I grew up. I kind of fell out of favor because I never paid for cable in my life. But as I got older, my dad got older, I realized I couldn't really connect or bond with him the way you could, because you really can't talk about YouTube ad sales or auctioneers who don't pay you to a guy who his parents chopped sugarcane out in St. Lucie. So as I got back into baseball to say, hey, look, did you see the Mets game last night? And I kind of got me back into it. What's been your baseball journey? Are you in? Are you enthusiast? Were you one team's fan? You convert? Did you stop? What was your thing?
I'm a 3rd generation Mets fan. 3rd.
Let's go.
My grandparents were fans of the Brooklyn Dodgers because they moved as part of the Great Migration to Brooklyn. Jackie Robinson and them left for LA. There was no New York Giants. So naturally, they became Mets fans, and they saw the first World Series win in 1969. Then my father saw his first World Series in 86. So I know I'm going to get mine. Now, I started my career in Little League. I was about 2nd grade or so, and you're talking to the MVP of the 1996 South Shore Athletic League.
South Shore Athletic League?
South Shore Athletic League. I've told you, I'm from Brooklyn, bro.
You unlocked a memory, kid.
I played for the Houston Astros. Okay. I played for the Montreal Expos.
Yeah.
I think I played for the Dodgers, too. Like, every year, they always changed the teams that you're on. And I always played third base, and I played shortstop. So Francisco Lindor is my favorite player on the New York Mets, which is kind of funny because I love them all. But that's my upbringing with the sport. Now, naturally, being from Brooklyn, as you and I discussed, a little difficult to make friends when folks don't vibe with baseball. So you start branching out to football and basketball. And I found myself playing a lot of street ball in Flatlands, Brooklyn. That's how I was able to just basically keep out of trouble and stay athletic. Try to play with your friends. Eventually, I got into cross country. I did track and field until eventually I transitioned over to music. So I'm a bass guitarist. I sing. I play the double bass, and I found my way back here to the Mets.
Whoa. All right. So I got to say this, as somebody who applied for a job for the Mets and who was told no thanks, how did you audition? How did you apply? Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, you got a friend in me, man.
I took an L, bro. It was fine. But how did you decide to make that jump? How did you audition for it? Did it seem weird being like, I know I got the skill and talent, but would this be a right fit for me? Like,
so it was a bit weird, because what I had done was I had been in City Field at least 2 times prior for Spartan Race, and Spartan Race is a mud run 5K that holds events throughout the nation. So I'm touring with these guys from New York to Seattle to Texas, you name it. I've probably been in that state, Utah. It turned out that I was speaking with one of the workers there who said, "Hey, give me your resume." I was just like, "All right, I've heard this before, whatever." But I didn't give him the resume, but we kept in touch. Then my baby was born, and I texted him, "Yo, the baby came 2 weeks early." He said, "Congratulations, send me your resume."
Someone believes in you,
Probably
right?
somebody really believed in me. And I was told, "Hey, there's a chance of this, but there's a chance it may not, that there may be a position open for an MC." From there, I had maybe 3 or 4 interviews prior to being invited to Port St. Lucie for the preseason game. So I went to Port St. Lucie in Florida, did a game there, and after the first game, they were like, "Yeah, we've seen enough. You're ready." And I was like, "Nah, I love it here. It's real hot here. It's Florida. You sure you don't want me to come back?"
I ain't shoveling no snow.
Dang. Yeah, I ain't no snow, nothing. Like, yo, this is real nice, the palm trees. I don't get this in Brooklyn.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, "Nah, we've seen enough. You're good to go." So that's how that happened. Now, mind you, when this happened, we still had more practice to do because I'm getting reintroduced to Major League Baseball. This terminology, the way you introduce your New York Mets is not the same as announcing out of the red corner, he stands 5 feet 9 inches by way of Brooklyn, New York, Flobo. It's a different voice. And Citi Field helped me to find the voice that you hear now when I'm introducing your New York Mets.
Yeah. Well, just editor's note, I'm 6 foot tall. Yo, I'm not a short king, brother. I don't know why.
Nah, yo. You said Barbados. I was like, I know that capsize gotta be somewhere.
No, here, we got the biggest foreheads in the region. That's why I know Rihanna and mine were related. You don't gotta look at that. I got a 7 5/8, bro. Like,
7 5/8. Yeah, we're talking capsizes. I like this show.
Yeah,
one size fits all.
Okay, that's smart.
Snapback.
Okay, I'm snapback too.
Yeah.
But like, yo,
It's a little bit of cheating.
Fits most. I got like two snaps in there. That's it. The last 2. They're holding on for dear life. That's how big my head is. That's.
Oh no, I got like 2 more spaces left, bro.
No, we're the same.
I love this shit. I love this. Black baseball talk.
Yeah, that's how it is, man. Cheats has a collection. If you ever get a chance to see it with Cheats, he has like hats upon hats and Negro League stuff too, and which is nuts. So the next question,
really good question. I have at least like 12 match caps now that I never expected to have. City, the one you have on now, beige, red, blue, green.
So I like to go to different ballparks and stuff, and people always say, "Do you wear a Mets gear?" And I go, "Okay, I respect the home team by wearing a Mets hat in their home color." So I got one for every color rainbow. But I'm in the same boat, man. It's an addiction.
Yeah, it is. It is. You never know what you got to look like. Plus, I'm a host, so they got to look the part. You got to sell some caps.
You gotta have the outfits. All right, here's a question for you: which team is more tightly knit, the New York Mets or the Eagle Scouts?
Oh, that's a good one.
You are a scout.
Let me say this right now. I am an Eagle Scout, so I'm 1%. I'm 1%. Eagle Scout would be JFK, Ronald Reagan, Neil Armstrong. It's an elite class. Shout out to them. I'm a lifetime member as well. Really tight-knit group. Now, this New York Mets group pulled it together from 0-5, especially when what's-his-face decided to take his glove, throw it out. It became DFA. This group is different. I haven't felt a vibe like this in New York since Linsanity.
Whoa.
And I mean that in the best way possible. I mean, it's not a miracle. It's not a fluke. These guys doing this thing night in, night out. And every time when you turn into Meet at the Apple podcast and they're interviewing the players, and when Diaz is the most recent one, they're always talking about that camaraderie, the spank, how manager Mendoza is telling players to turn around and speak to the players like, "Yo, you better give a high five to what's his face." That's the camaraderie that I'm looking for. So right now I'm going to say the New York Mets.
I'll take that, man. And I think the Eagles guys are like 0.9%. That's like even slimmer than 1.
You got to earn this over here, man.
Yeah,
You can't get this overnight.
I went to one meeting as a kid, the Boy Scouts. I went to one meeting. I was like, "Yeah, all too tough for me, bro. I don't."
You see my eyes? It was a cold night.
Right.
And the thing is, we're under 18 years old, and we have to do this before your 18th birthday.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot. It like the merit badges sound on face value like, okay, anybody can do that.
Right. They're talking about it and then it's doing it. But I got a question for you about the nature of entertainment. So you also
Sure.
are a ring announcer for combat sports, MMA,
Yes.
and boxing.
Yeah.
And as someone who's dabbled with that as well, pro wrestling as well, I always felt that post COVID, it's just been harder to get people to go outside. Our food is delivered, our work is at home. We don't really date as much anymore. Am I just being cynical, or are people coming out to shows, or different MMA crowds coming back to shows? How is live entertainment post the pandemic?
Live entertainment is actually picking up, and it's not just from what I'm seeing across the nation as part of Spartan, but even with the attendances for live events in general. Shucks, I just came back from New York Liberty's first playoff game. That attendance is rocking.
They
That's
better win,
women's
man.
basketball. That man,
I mean,
best team in the
you're
league.
down bad, but they're the only OG team with a chip. Just saying.
High five, bro. High five. High five. We're gonna get it this year. Shout out to Brooklyn's Barclays again. Brooklyn's.
Yes.
I would say that it is definitely up there. When you have the pandemic, everybody was so conditioned to watching from their TV. Movies were exclusively on HBO Max. It was conditioned that way. Now everybody wants to go outside because they're pandemic tired and they want to experience being in person. When it comes to City Field, nobody's messing with us on entertainment. Because when you're there in person, you're watching the pitching change of the other team, and that light show hits, and you hear the voices coming through on that audio. Ooh, you don't want to be home. And I think people are starting to see that for this winning Mets team. As for ring announcing, who wants to stay home when you can see Anthony Joshua unfortunately get knocked out last weekend? Who wants to stay home when you got Mike Tyson and Jake Paul main events in the fight? I mean, some people do want to stay home and actually watch what happens.
Yeah.
It's kind of obvious. But at the same time, live events are back. I had an opportunity this past weekend to be in Cortland, New York for K4 Fighting Promotions, and the attendance is really going up in upstate New York, where the population density is considerably less. It's a college town,
Sure.
but people want to see live action. People want to see that in-ring stuff. So it's really happening. And for those that want to follow along for the ring announcing that I do, there's a lot happening this season.
Yeah.
USA Boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, it's growing. Even the largest MMA promotion in Asia, One Championship, just hosted their first U.S. event in Colorado 2-3 weekends ago. So the markets are also expanding.
Yeah. How do you do it, brother? I mean, that portfolio, that client roll must be crazy. Baseball today, because there's a bunch of games, and there's MMA stuff happening on the weekends when games are happening. And I know you have
True.
a young child, man. Like, what is
Yeah,
it?
my number one job's a dad.
Like, do you have a planner? Like, you have apps? How do you keep things in check?
I have a shared calendar with my wife, and happy wife, happy life. It really helps to have an idea of what your contract looks like early as possible. So 2025, I already know what dates I'm not available for, which is a good thing, keeps you busy. But it also makes sure that you're able to support those that you care about.
Yeah.
My wife is highly supportive of what I do. This entire career that I'm having right now, in large part, is because of her. She's been so supportive since 10 years ago when we first met. And now that it's expanding this way, we're like, yo, this is the career. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So shout out to her. She's also involved in sports professionally. So just trying to craft my way through this broadcast and MC role.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that you got to have a solid foundation. Seems like you have that at home, but I mean, you talk about childcare and those gigs.
Oh my gosh, I have all the motivation I have with childcare, bro. Bills every Monday.
Well, fatherhood has not seen me yet, but I like the fact when you become a dad, you're like, yo, man, each pamper is like 90 cents a poop. Or like, oh man, private school is expensive.
And the sad part is, I was talking to one of my friends. He has 2 kids. He's like, bro, when you finish paying daycare bills, it moves to another bill. I was like, bro, what? Mm-hmm. So now you already know. I'm here with the Mets. I'm enjoying my time, and I expect to be here for a long time. Not going anywhere major leagues, and I'm glad to make my grandparents, my dad, who passed away due to cancer, and now this generation raising my little one. She's been to 2 Mets games already, just trying to make them proud.
Yeah,
so I got reason to be here.
And you're doing it, man. Like, again, just as someone growing up watching how diverse the lineups were in New York, they are that way to a certain point, but it's cool to see a brother out there just being excited to be part of the game. Even though you are an in-game host, it does feel like I'm going to your house. I'm just heading out. Like, Yo, man, can I get some? Can I get some glizzies? I bet. So I got
Gotcha.
a couple of quick questions for you, man. Kind of like
Sure.
a lightning round, but take your time. You don't got to go all in depth if you don't want to. But do you feel, number one, do you feel what you do is a thankless role?
Um, Not necessarily thankless. I think a lot of folks wanted this energy for City Field, and I'm glad I can give it to them. It's all about the customers at the end of the day, the fans, and also just representing the New York Mets. So I'm very thankful.
Is a ticket at Payson's worth it?
Is a ticket at what worth it?
Payson's, the Cadillac Club, is that worth it?
Oh, what? Any ticket at City Field is worth it. Because here's why. There's no
Don't.
such thing as a bad, yeah, I'm working it. There's no such thing as a bad seat in City Field, whether it's the Mike Piazza Club, the Cadillac Club, it doesn't matter, or even Clover Club. It's always a good seat because you never know where that foul ball is going to land.
You know, when I was in my teens, David Wright was still playing, and they had David Wright nights where you can get inside for $5 in section 500. And section 500 isn't the greatest view, but it was like my homies were so relieved because up there at Shea Stadium you didn't see nothing, so it was already an improvement.
Shea was rocking, man.
Yeah, Shea was rocking.
Literally.
It was way up there. Yeah.
Yeah, Shea was crazy. City Field's view is just different because you can really see the city and field.
Mhm.
But also you never know who's going to be there. I was emceeing one game that had Carmelo Anthony, Steph Curry, and Anthony Ramos just right there. And I met two of the three. The only person I didn't see was Steph Curry.
Wow.
So I hope to see him again, man. Just
You get photos?
wow, you never know who you're gonna see.
You get photos?
No. That
Yeah, no, okay, I got you.
in time.
Yeah, in time. Shout out to Pharaoh Monch, went to a game this season too.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he did. Like it was a couple
no.
weeks ago. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was I don't want to say it. It was kind of messed up. It was also on Hawk Tua Day. He actually went to that game. But I won't go any deep. But I thought it was a cool idea. All right. What was the dream growing up, man?
The dream going up. Oh gosh. Who would have thought that hip hop would take it this far?
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I thought I would be more of a PA announcer. So that's exactly what Colin is doing now. Introducing your New York Mets. And I would train that way, even with Spartan races. Who would have thought that I was low-key training myself to be an MC like this? That's what I thought it was. So the good news is the in-game operators know that I can definitely do that. I'm a ring announcer.
Right.
So that close, and if they call me up one game to be like, hey, we need somebody, I'll be there.
Talking about 1%. Imagine doing the things you want to do as a kid, as an adult. That almost never happens. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
So
it's very lucky.
you had mentioned Lindor's your favorite player in the team right now, but who's your favorite player of all time and your favorite player growing up?
Bobby Bonilla. Bobby Bonilla was probably the first name that I recall as a first time at New York Mets. I had the blue bomber jacket, I had the blue cap, and I still have to this day the plastic Mets cap that you put your popcorn in. I still have it. I got to see that picture. My mom's got it. Yeah, it was Bobby Bonilla coming up. Keith Hernandez, really nice guy too, man. I got to shout him out. Very, very nice. I had a chance to meet him. Shout out to Gary. He's not a player, but that's the best booth in the business. And to me, they make the whole production worth it.
Yeah, it's funny about Gary Cohen because also I do esports, so it has a very like hybrid sports kind of presentation, and a lot of my stuff I'm modeled behind Gary. I'm getting into it. Arlo White, Dave Croft, and Michael Cole are kind of like the four. Yeah, it's all, you know what Michael Cole does that most people don't do is setting the table. It's never like welcome wrestling fans to SmackDown. He's like 14,000 have packed in Barclays for Friday Night SmackDown. You're like,
there you go. You know what's funny? He patterns that right after JR. You know the camera zooms in as soon as it hits the open segment. It's 14,000 people. 14,000 people here in a hot sunny day here in Arizona. About as hot as Stone Cold Steve Austin. By God. It's like, yo, I'm 8 years old. Like,
I'm so hyped. But speaking about 8 years old, like the Mets organization, for those who don't know, every year they have something called Kidcaster, where a kid can be in the booth for half an inning with Gary, Keith, and Ron. And I would say the past 4 years, the Kidcaster winners have Gary Cohen's cadence. I hope we realizes how influential a voice he is in a town that large, you know?
It's great that you mentioned the Kidcaster. His name is Aaron Korn. Aaron Korn, I believe is fourth grade. He came up to me about 2-3 weeks ago and said, "Yo, you're one of my favorite MCs, my favorite host here." And I took a picture with him. I actually have a video with him on my Instagram, where I let him foreplay your New York Mets. He's such a great job. So you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching, just like myself, how I got here. And you also don't know how you inspire the next generation to do this stuff. So I'm excited for him, his future, as well as the New York Mets commentary.
Yeah, absolutely. Like to be able, I haven't got it yet, but to be able to create a new fan, that to me,
Yeah. He signed my OMG sign too, the Kickcaster.
He's giving out autographs already.
That's how you build the next generation, kid.
That's crazy. Yeah, superstars. All right, but speaking of kids, you are an author. The book Meadow Club Kids Winner's Circle. Talk to me about that. Why you decide to go into children's literature?
You picked up on the segue. Yes, Meadow Club Kids is available on Amazon, Target, Walmart. It's about the adventures of Zoe. She's a young girl who's experiencing her first OCR event at her school. And of course, she learns lessons such as how to experience bullying and how to help others finish the race, because it's not about who finishes first, it's about us finishing together. It's as great as that is, it's been really well received. It's actually an award-winning book as well from a few nonprofits in the area. So buy yours, Meadow Club Kids.
Last question for me to wrap this up, man, because I took my brother, who's a non-baseball guy, because I go to all the baseball parks. I'm a baseball park chaser. I took him to Citi Field first and the Yankee Stadium back-to-back, because it's kind of rare. For those who don't know, New York teams don't usually play at home at the same time. He loved the food at Citi Field. He was like, it's way better than what chicken nuggets they have in the Bronx. So let me ask you, what is your favorite thing to eat at the ballpark in general and at Citi Field?
Chicken nuggets is okay. But have you ever had Nas's food in Citi Field? Before you answer about them chicken and waffles, have you had La Frida? Have you had our pizza? Have you had Korean fried chicken? Have you had sushi in the ballpark? Like, I'm telling you, we got the rainbow on rainbow of what it is you can eat at Citi Field. And that's why Citi Field is number one when it comes to the food. Now, mind you, we have our own cafeteria that normally services. If you come through with your press pass, I'm sure we can make this happen. Steak, ribs, charcuterie. We got it while supplies last. Even yesterday, we ran out of charcuterie because I think the ESPN guys got to it before I did. Like, yo, the secret's out. We got to work on this.
Like, oh, man, you left the door open? Come on, man.
Yeah, shoot. Like, no one broadcaster in the world to eat your food. ESPN.
So if you had a chance to go, are you steak first or charcuterie first? Like, what's your thing? What's your
depends what I'm feeling, because I have to go out there and perform.
Right.
I'll most likely eat something light. It's a really good question. Yeah. I'll eat something light before I go out there for that first hit, which is the Mets take the field, do the first inning pump up with the Queens crew, and then for about 2-3 innings, I disappear. That's when I'll eat the more heavier stuff like the steak and salad.
And you have something in your ear being like, yo, where are you? Oh, I'm eating. Like, how does someone know, coordinate when you get to have a break? Or
we have show flow. We have a run a show for what times you're expected to be there at a certain spot. Citi Field is massive, so you need to be in your section well in advance with your producer as well as your cameraman. And that's something I had to learn to do kind of by baptism by fire, because you definitely don't want to hit. You definitely don't want to miss your hits, but you also don't want to make your hit and not deliver. And I've been able to deliver all my hits this first year, which is great. So shout out to all the producers and the cameramen that worked with me.
Yeah, if that's me, I'll have my runner show in like food times. You have one chopped cheese and 1/4 water left.
Bacon, egg, and cheese, please.
You got 2 pizza slices. You gotta
who put the pepper in this?
Oh my gosh,
man. We don't have that Citi Field. We don't have that Citi Field.
We should go, man. JTM, man, Justin T. Man, thanks for being on the show, man. In the booth, Black Baseball Mixtape. Yo, here's the fun part. If someone wants to follow you, connect with you, book you for events, now's the time, brother.
Yes, sir. So if you wish to follow along, find yourself a ring announcer or find yourself the energy you need to match your event, look no further than guys that will supersede it. It's your boy JTM, Just the Man. JTM Talks at Instagram. You can also follow me on Facebook.
Yo, wishing you all the success, brother, man. OMG, LGM to the bitter end, all that jazz, brother.
Appreciate you.